Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. I'm your co-host, Emma Jackson.
And I'm Jose. Emma, I think I need a cup of coffee today.
Really? Wow, how convenient, because you know what? We just happen to have some lovely, beautiful coffee beans. Do you see this product placement? Can we get a zoom in on this?
Beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep. But the interesting part is, like, this coffee's here, but I wonder how many people in our audience is actually subscribed to our channel so they can follow where this coffee's going to be.
Wow. See, we have a really, really great guest today, but you wouldn't know if you're not subscribed.
And
You
then
might find out. You might just be scrolling through YouTube and figure it out. But honestly, our goal is to bring really interesting stories your way. And for that, you need to subscribe and share with your friends
The
and
best
family.
part, if they do subscribe, Emma, they're going to get a notification when we launch an episode with great guests that talk about coffee, my favorite topic.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that, yes, I'm a little bit biased on this, but I got a message from a good friend last night. And you know how friends, like, have to support you. Oh, I'll listen to an episode, okay, whatever. No, this was exactly what I wanted. She said, Emma, I listened to we did an episode on burnout, and we interviewed a life coach who really focuses on coaching people through burnout. And she said, I have sent this to like 6 people because it is so on par with everything that's going on in our lives and what we need to know. And I was like, good. So you're not watching it to support, you're watching it because it actually is good quality
information.
content.
That's what I'm talking
So
about.
I feel like we're really on par with that.
Yeah, I'm excited to introduce our guest.
Yeah, so welcome onto the show, Elmer Muñoz. Thank you
Hi.
for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
So Elmer is a Guatemalan entrepreneur who has spent the last 18 years working in the energy sector around the world. His role has taken him to Africa and Europe and South America and even the Middle East. Despite spending his adult life outside of Guatemala, Elmer has always remained close to his home country and his roots. This connection is what inspired him to found Liberté Coffee, an independent company based in Houston, Texas, that sells specialty coffee from Guatemala. Liberté is a purpose-driven organization that sources directly with small and medium producers, providing them with free technical support, quality control, and education. And 10% of your sales fund your social outreach program, helping workers of the farms and their families.
That's
That-
awesome.
So more than just a business, huh?
Exactly. That's why we call it a coffee with purpose.
I love that. Coffee with purpose. We're going to dig into, I want to know about how in the world you got from the energy sector into coffee. And then also all of the challenges that you faced with working in an international organization. And then, of course, the sustainability piece is so important because nowadays consumers, we want to know that what we're paying for is doing some good in the world. But I want to see behind the curtain and what that's like to actually run a business that is driven with purpose.
So tell me about yourself and tell me why coffee.
Sure. Very well. Well, first of all, great to meet you guys. Thank you for having me. And about myself. So, yes, I'm from Guatemala, as you mentioned.
You
But
speak
I've been
Spanish?
outside of Guatemala. Sí.
Okay.
So, Spanish is my first language. French is a third language.
Oh,
So, I actually left Guatemala when I was about 18, 19 to come study in the US with a scholarship. And I studied engineering. And then the road took me to working in the oil and gas industry here in Houston. And very grateful to that industry because it gave me the opportunity to see the world and travel around the world. So I lived in 9 different countries. I visited like a ton, as you had mentioned, all across the globe.
Can I ask what 9 countries?
Sure. So obviously Guatemala is where I grew up. Then in the U.S., I have lived in Gabon, West Africa.
was that where the French came in?
I actually started French when I was in the university because I had some friends from France, and I would get pissed off that I could not understand what they were saying.
I get that.
been there.
Little did I know that was going to help me. I also ended up working and living in France, in Paris. That's where actually Liberté was conceived as
That
an
is
idea.
so cool.
I live in Equatorial Guinea and in Gabon, in Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Finland, and in the UK.
That is so exciting.
Emma loves to travel.
I love to travel. I've been to a few of those places, but not nearly enough. So that is super, super cool and gives you such an interesting perspective on the world and also on business.
Exactly. That was the whole point to me. So I'm very, grateful for my experience of life. So I come from a very humble beginnings. I'm the youngest out of, 11 kids in my family.
Woo! 11 kids.
Yes. And
Dang.
we were,
I
my
can't
parents.
fathom that. That's a lot of kids.
I know. It was fun. I'll tell you that. I'm sure for my parents it wasn't. But my mother is actually from the Northwest, from the coffee region where we bring some of this coffee Liberté. And my father is from the south east, and I'm also now bringing coffee from his area, which is Santa Rosa. But neither of them finished elementary school, and we have very humble beginnings. But somehow my parents believe in education, and they made sure that all of us went to school. So we did, and I have siblings who are doctors and engineers, lawyers, and after pursuing that life and having opportunities and obviously sizing those opportunities, I ended up here. I live in different parts of the world, and I that's why I started Liberté as well, because I thought, what, human potential is amazing, and what is really important is opportunities. And that's what I want to provide a great coffee for my country, connected to my country, and provide a platform opportunity for some people in these communities to maybe have a wonderful life like the way that I've had it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're giving 10% back to the farmers and making sure you're taking care of the community that's actually funding your ventures.
Yes, definitely, and I'm excited to tell you more about that. We have specifically a program that is social outreach program, and we have a whole way of allocating that 10% that really becomes something meaningful there.
So before we dive into that, coffee. We talked about Jose's like, I want to know why coffee. My guess is that coffee is a big part of Guatemalan culture and exports, and it was a way for you to connect with your home country. Is that anywhere close?
So yes, absolutely. So coffee alongside sugarcane is the two largest exports of Guatemala. Agriculture is like the number two source of income for the country, so it's still a big thing. However, it's the coffee culture is not big in Guatemala, and after traveling the world, I realized that coffee is everywhere. But the level of culture of coffee is really in the countries that do not produce it, and then the countries that produce it. Really, most of their good coffee just goes to outside the country.
Yep.
But traveling the world gave me that view, and then being from Guatemala and actually my mother being from a coffee region, that was the connection to coffee. And ultimately, coffee is a very noble and beautiful product that brings people together, and that's what I realized around the world. So kind of that also made me want to be in coffee.
It's crazy. I have a picture when I was like 6 months old, right? So I'm Puerto Rican.
Okay.
I know where this is
I
going.
grew up drinking coffee. But there's a picture of me at 6 months old, and with a bottle, and there's coffee in the bottle. And I asked my mom recently when we were getting ready for this episode, I was like, why you gave me coffee when I was a baby? And she's like, that's the only way you stop crying. It's like we put some coffee and you just became happier. And in Puerto Rico, my family, like,
That explains so much to this day. So much.
yeah, Puerto Rico, we drink coffee like religiously. Like after lunch, you get a small taza, and then after dinner, you get a little small taza. And then and breakfast, you have like un pastelillo and then a cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? So I I love coffee personally. I know Emma's addicted to coffee as well. So
But okay, tell me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago that we both started diving into actually understanding the how the quality of the beans and the processing goes into it. I have a good friend of mine that is a roaster at a wonderful, wonderful craft roastery and coffee shop in Kentucky, where I'm
Okay.
from.
he takes it so seriously, by the way.
And he does, and I absolutely love that. So they're serious about where they source the beans. They're serious about how they roast them, about how they the craft that goes into them, and they want to become a national player in terms of actually producing and serving.
Mhm.
Honestly, there's to the customer, right? The best possible experience. And through him, I started learning some things. And then I spent some time in Costa Rica, which is another country that has, a big coffee culture. And I learned a little bit more. And so we're still, I would say, on the newer side of it, but we're in like the third wave of coffee culture in the U.S. And we take it super seriously, and people spend so much money on coffee, so it's a great market opportunity.
No, absolutely, and thank you for the introduction to your friend. I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Oh, don't worry. I already had this in my mind because he actually, every time I've gone somewhere, he was like, I would love to connect. They specifically like to connect with small and medium-sized farms. They want to be really intentional because obviously they're not the ones sourcing the beans. They just want to make sure that what they're getting is good quality. And this would be a really good opportunity to know that their biggest thing is understanding the supply chain, understanding that people are being taken care of.
No, absolutely, and thanks for bringing that up. So one of the biggest challenges in the coffee industry, it's actually the way coffee is perceived, and this is one of the big goals that we have with Liberté Coffee, is to change that perception that coffee is just a functional drink. Because coffee is something that is actually enjoyable. It's like wine. There's a lot of parallels to wine. It's like a cocktail that you can really truly enjoy it. And like your friend from Kentucky that you're talking about, put so much effort into it, because in reality, and I say, coffee is a mixture of nature, of talent, of science, technology, and passion. You know, and we want to provide all of that information to people, because create a different appreciation for the coffee, and then appreciate really every part of the supply chain. So Liberté, we are vertically integrated, but one of the focus that I'm having a lot is with at the beginning with the production. Only working with small producers that are have a great product, but typically not a good opportunity to sell the coffee in a fair way. But I do understand that first of all we have to have a good quality and maintain that. But second is to also provide education to the public to start seeing coffee with its value that it has, and not just as a
Ooh, I
functional
like
drink.
that. Let me ask you this question based off that answer. Like, what is your personal connection with coffee? Like, what's your story? Like, is there like an origin story? Like me and my bottle. Is there an origin story for you and coffee?
Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a huge connection with coffee, and in fact with Liberté.
Okay.
As I said, I'm from Guatemala. I'm from like humble beginnings. The way that I see my life right now is I am in between two worlds, and this is the way that I've seen for various times of my life. In this case, coming from a what we consider developing country, and I have spent a big part of my adult life in a developed countries. I've seen all the different sides of the social fabric in our world, and I been really fortunate to have worked in this energy sector for a long time. I met people from all sorts of parts of the world and different backgrounds. But I still connected to my people and to my country. And I um, I was telling you earlier that to me, Liberty Coffee is very personal, because had I not had opportunities in my life and people who believed in me, I would not be here, and I would have never made the jump like some people say. But I did. I came to the U.S. with a scholarship that I earned because of my grades. That took me into landing a career in the oil and gas, which took me around the world. Um, and what I wanted at some point in my life, I realized that making money or just pursuing a career was not what I wanted. Only that was not fulfilling me as a human,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to something more meaningful in my life, something with purpose, personal. And I spent some time, in my 30s trying to figure out what that was, And finally, it was I was visiting my mother in Guatemala one time that I reconnected with some family from her side. And little conversation, realized that they were selling coffee. Then I had already realized that coffee was big in the world. I did some research, and this coffee was amazing. Most of it is exported outside the country. And I did a reconnaissance trip for my 40th birthday to my mother's homeland, and that's where I realized, wow, beautiful area, beautiful landscaping. This is so peaceful. The people is so nice, but the people that are actually producing coffee get nothing, and many of them are the ones who are migrating illegally to the U.S. to work in different kind of ways here, abandoning their lands. So, with the experience that I had and my love and connection for my land and for my people, I realized it's a business opportunity. It's an opportunity to really create something, improve something that it's profitable, but at the same time has a mission, and we can make a social impact in this area. And in my vision, that it will really spread into other areas of Guatemala and other countries that produce coffee. But that's my connection. My connection was really to create a life that had more meaning and more purpose for me, and to provide other people that whose realities sometimes don't allow them to realize their human potential with an opportunity for that.
Let me ask you this question. This is just my curiosity. You might not have the answer to this one. Is like, do you know what's the wages that were getting paid in those farms, those workers?
We know some of that information because obviously, and this is what me coming from a corporate kind of work mentality, I have tried to approach this with a very structured way. So I did a lot of marketing research, market research, product development, understanding the realities. Even our social program is not just giving the money. We actually are been studying and try to involve the communities to see how this can really work. But wages are not even like what is minimum in Guatemala, and even the coffee prices that people that these people get paid for the coffee is not. It's just the very minimum. Like
Wow.
rarely cover their money for surviving as well. So what we do, we not only pay above fair price, but we provide with additional support that is for free for them. And what I want to do is to create a sustainable way of developing these communities.
Well, one last question. I
Okay.
promise. I promise. Promise. Do you work with any third party partners like nonprofits? I was a Habitat for Humanity, where they go out and build like houses, or like other nonprofits that work with like the water, irrigation systems to bring different development to those communities.
So no yet, but that is like the plan and that is the vision. Keep in mind, I only launched Liberté a little over a year ago.
Oh,
I've
okay.
been working on this project for the last 5 years, but I really wanted to do something very well done to make sure that it was going to be long lasting. Um, and at the same time, as you mentioned, 10% of all the sales, the final sales, go to a social program, social outreach program, that we're targeting three areas with that is connecting these people to social to education, second to healthcare, and then improving living conditions at the farms where they live. But what I want to do is that I want to prove that we Liberté we're doing it, like genuinely care for that, and we have built some track, because building that track, then I can go back into some nonprofits and other governmental and nonprofit organizations to get the support,
So you're
because they probably want to see that we got a program established, we're already really truly doing something, and then we can join forces.
And you're the one, it's not like you're contracting out someone else to do the social contractor or the social program. You guys are actually
doing.
hands on the ground working with those farmers.
Exactly, that's right, and I can tell you more about the team, but there is this person which is called Flori Muñoz. She happens to be one of my sisters.
Interesting. I was like, there's a last name connection there. I'm pretty sure there's. So you actually have, this is what you mean by vertical integration. And with the social connection, you are deeply involved. I think that's important to emphasize, because there are quite a few businesses out there that they might donate, they might do this and that, but they actually don't understand. They may not know where that money is going exactly. They may not know what exactly they're providing
No,
support wise.
absolutely,
I,
and thank you.
yeah, no, I love the vision you got going on. Before you like, I want to ask this quick question. It's like, part of your vision, are you aiming to structure like your corporation as like a B corporation where it's like for profit but a massive undertaking is actually community development and outreach?
Yes. So we have a big plan, and and I'm going like through different phases. A huge component of Liberty Coffee is the social component. It's a mission. That's the reason why I really started it. Otherwise, I could continue a career and do what I was doing in
And
the
just
energy
make the
sector.
money.
But this is very important, and everybody that is working with us, the big thing is like we're connected through values and through mission as well. And like, so if from the suppliers, from the people that have something to do in our entire value chain, even like to the clients, we're looking for people that actually really believe in this, and to say, hey, we want a great coffee and we want to also support this. So the person that is doing the director of the social program, and she actually has been working more than 20 years with a nonprofit, in developing social programs in Guatemala and in Central America.
So it's so well aligned
So
with what you want to accomplish.
it's very well aligned. So this like she and is working with a group of people, but really working very mindful to create a program, and we actually have included the leaders of the communities. A lot of the people is like from indigenous communities in Guatemala, so we're including the leaders because they are the ones who know the problems and their issues, and they are the ones who probably have the better answers. Like I tell people, I don't want to be just coming here from an outsider's view and say, oh, we want to help you, and that is like putting a band-aid where what they really need is true cure, and to be treated with fairness. So it's gonna take longer as well because it's not that easy, and because we're really learning in their true issues. But I'll tell you, it's so amazing, it's so rewarding, and these people, it's so like just so more fun. Every time I go there, I'll be there in a couple of weeks. I had like the greatest time. It's very busy time, but when I come back more invigorated.
Okay, so honestly, not only is this amazing, it's right at my alley. I'm very, very Jose knows. I am
I'm super
super
intrigued.
into like value driven work, but it is so much harder than just running, growing, and scaling a traditional business. So I honestly want to talk about what sacrifices or considerations you've had to make, or just how are you planning to scale the business differently? Because there are with a traditional business model, you have a lot more options where, okay, if things get tight, I can cut this, or I can go down to a lower quality of this, or I can do this or that, and it just provides you flexibility for higher profit margins to grow to scale, which is necessary in those first few years. So, what how are you considering this differently? You're just in your first year of launching. It sounds like you've been super intentional. You've got a plan. So tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, thank you. So definitely, we're very intentional in being planning for a long time. For me, it's I'm big on that, and my background in project management in what I do, it's also a lot of planning, a lot of like risk, management as well. So maybe sometimes I'm guilty of too much of that. That's one of my challenges,
I
is
feel
to
you.
really come from a very structural corporate kind of working mentality to a small business. And coffee is a huge different industry that is very casual, is very relationship driven, which is lovely. But finding that balance also has been one of my challenges. Um, the we and you as business owner as well, or developing business, one of the things that to me another challenge was to realize all the different opportunities and challenges that were going to come and the needs for a business. So at the beginning, I had a plan, and the plan obviously evolves all the time, and there's different needs that happen. But scalability, and this is one of the goals for this year. So recently I worked out the whole strategy for 2024 with the team. We have a couple of new members in my team here in the US, and I was trying to say, okay, these are the objectives that we have for this year. One of them is the scalability. um, Unfortunately, last year I had to pause my business for about 6 months because of family personal situation, and then just restarted really taking back coffee and into the routine at the end of last year. But that didn't allow me to really move all the product as I needed to last year, and therefore this year one of the objectives is to scale it. But we built a business model that it allows for that as well. And you touch business model. To me, what I'm trying to do with Liberté, it's sort of it for me. It's a new business model based on what I know, because it is per profit, but it's not only profit. A
Yeah.
huge portion is really mission, and I eventually I want to seek investors, but that is people that really are going to be okay with doing certain margins, but because the other part of the value of the company is what we're doing for others.
Absolutely.
So,
So
what is the biggest challenge right now? Like today, what's your biggest challenge in scaling that right now? The
so
fund.
So my biggest challenge right now is creating that clientele for us. The coffee is a big market, and it's everywhere, but there's different niches within the coffee. What we sell is called specialty coffee, and overall coffee is graded from 0 to 100, and anything that is about 80, it's specialty coffee, and this is dictated by international organizations and certified people to do that. So our niche is specialty coffee, and there's also smaller niches within that. Biggest challenge is then to create that conscious in people that coffee, you have all these varieties of coffee. because most people just see it as just purely coffee, but our coffee is specialty, so it's really high end. It has very particular notes and attributes, what we call. So getting people to know, to be educated about that, so they can really value it, so they can really get on board with it and say, oh, I want to drink coffee because I really enjoy this, not just because I need to wake up. Um, and as I said, my situation of last year prevented me from really moving the inventory that we had. So my challenge right now is to move that, and we have a huge campaign with our team to do that. Um, that the second for me personally, the second challenge would be capital, because this is basically my business. So everything that I have saved for the last 18 years, and that I invested, I put into this. And it's not only the product, but the whole development. As you can imagine, it's been a lot of undertaking. It's an investment,
Of
in
course.
fact, right? And I am fully on board with that. And the thing is, there's so many people that are supporting me, that believe in this, from the farmers. They are trusting us with their products. Like, and everybody's in the value chain that I'm working with, we don't know anything, but we represent the entire value chain. But we have people that process the coffee, that do the roasting, that do the packaging, and all of them are very much involved in on board with us, and trust us. So, um, whereas capital is still one of my current challenges, uh, I think we have a very good network of people, and that are providing us, enabling us with the ability to move. So, um, I don't know. I'm
I think capital is a challenge to a lot of small and medium sized businesses, but I want to drive into that your core missions, from what I understand, is impact over profit. And
mhm.
then by proxy, you're getting a high end quality coffee and you're supporting the mission. So I particularly love that. So you can look at it like a major challenge, like, yeah, capital is a challenge, but you can also look at it like this is just a stepping stone, because at the end of the day, my company, or particularly your company, is mission focused on profit, being a secondary impact over the mission that you're actually accomplishing.
Yeah, but the moment you start drinking my coffee, it's our
Then
company.
you're hooked. Then you're hooked.
You're part of it as well. So, and thank you for bringing that, because that's what I want to people feel like. When you drink this coffee, and when you choose this coffee, Liberté coffee, you're not only having like an amazing, a specialty coffee, you're also supporting communities that grow your
Mhm.
coffee. And so yeah, I get that, but the challenge is really to get to these people.
I was about to say that. You have already identified your niche audience. They're the people who are, which is growing more and more, especially we see just from a market perspective, millennials in particular, and it trickles down. We are very big on spending with our values, and we want our products that we purchase to be aligned, and we are okay with spending more than traditional generations have before us. We're okay with spending more on a product if we know that there's a transparent supply chain, that we understand what's going on. I'm curious to know what your demographic makeup looks like and how you have,
Ooh, great question.
yeah, and then how you've been targeting your ideal clients.
Yeah, thank you. Great. Um,
We're very invested in this story. Like,
It just really aligns with we just did a whole month on talking about what it takes to build and scale a business, like from scratch. And this value driven business is super important to me, but it's not easy and it's not the easiest route. So just getting a chance to sit down, I feel like if we can share one bit of information, even just to one social entrepreneur out there who wants to do something and make a difference, to show them that it's possible.
yeah. So, a few things. You talk about scalability, talking about how to do that, and talk about demographics.
Mm-hmm.
So our demographics, after market research. So something that I did is, like, I hired different consultants to help me with different areas. So one of that, it was like, okay, let's identify demographics for our coffee. And by the way, all of our coffees as well have been assessed, studied by experts in Guatemala. And they say, hey, you have these great coffees. This is the scores. This is what it's good for. That we take that. All right, we bring it to Houston and to Texas. Who is our demographic for this? And our demographics, pretty much, it's young professionals and younger families, in their 30s, early 40s, with
Millennials.
There you go, millennials. With some spendable
Income.
income
Mhm.
and a refined palette for nice things and an intention to support social and environmental impact programs or projects in the world.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what we're going after. At the end of the day, I think coffee is for everyone as well. And something that we've done is we are creating a product line that we go from like the low end of the scale of the specialty coffee to higher ends, which like goes to scalability. So we got some coffees that are really good for your everyday drinker, people that are not really yet into coffee, but we have other coffees that are higher grade in of the kind of coffee that an enthusiast or real experts in coffee would appreciate. And that's where scalability comes into place this year, because what we realize is we have from our portfolio of coffees. Now we have the ability to manage some really high-end coffees with very exotic, what we call notes and attributes
Mhm.
in coffee. So we're gonna use those to differentiate us even further and to scale our business into those.
So you've identified what can I do that's different, not just the value-driven side of things.
Which is
We're gonna,
already
which is
differentiated.
already
Yeah.
differentiated, but you said we're gonna take it up a notch and we're gonna provide something that is truly special from a product perspective. Something I've talked to people about before, and we've talked about this when we work with value-driven businesses, is that is so great, but it's not enough. Your product has to be awesome. People have to want to buy the product for the product. The value just needs to, the mission part of it needs to be important. But you also have to have a product that people are invested in. They want to buy because it tastes good.
What's
No,
that?
absolutely. And
Go
yeah,
for, go for, go for.
and that is very key, because at the end of the day it doesn't really matter whether we have like amazing branding and packaging and great people that believe in this, and but the product is king in this as well. So that was the first thing, and that's why I was telling you it took me a while, because we did a lot of product development, but for that first I needed to create relationships. So I had to go to Guatemala. I spent the last 5 years going to the farms, meeting with farmers, meet in like some of them I knew from childhood through my mother,
Oh.
but other people is new, and that I've developed these relationships in the last 3 years. But identifying people that believe in this and have great products or close to great products, because also we want to have the ones that don't have great product to make it great as well. But that was key. And we identified, we started with 3 coffees in 2022. Last year, we were able to bring then 12 different coffees, so 9 additional coffees. What we call micro lots, very small quantities. These farmers only produce very small quantities for like 400 pounds to 1,000 pounds per year. Coffee, it's only an annual harvest.
Mm-hmm.
But we focus a lot on the product to make sure we do want to offer you high quality coffee, and we also focus a lot on the process. So we have in Guatemala somebody that focus on the quality control. So I I put my project management hat into this, and I don't know much about coffee. Or I don't know anything about coffee. I love coffee and I love to drink, but what I know is like what, we need to have a team that is so strong and that is good. I need to have people that are good in different areas. So
Knowing your skills. We did an episode on this. Understanding what you are good at and then what you need the support in, right?
Exactly. I want to know what's the price point of your coffee.
so our coffees run like from 14.99 to 21.99.
So it's honestly not that expensive.
No, either.
No.
It's
So
very affordable. It's something that is very competitive in the market. You got some specialty coffees that really go way up high there,
Mm-hmm.
but right now, what I want to make sure is that we provide this platform of for these people for these coffees, and something that to me was very important is to bring the people who's producing the coffee forward. And again, what you said is very to me was uh, very important, knowing your skill, knowing your strengths. But now also in this case, I realized we need to have like in the coffee is a huge value chain. So I need to have like work with companies, small companies or independent experts that know their different skills, whether it's roasting, whether it's the farming, whether it's quality control. But that's not also enough. What is important in this is to provide them an environment in which they can be empowered and they can really do what they do. It's like I love Simon Sinek. It's
I love Simon Sinek. Yes.
so and
I've
I
quoted him. I'll send you stuff.
and other people, but it was Steve Jobs who said, "You don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. You hire smart people so they tell you what to do."
I use that quote all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And so this
See, our
is
employees are like, yeah. Caleb and Kelly Casey are like, yeah, we know. We tell you guys what to do all the time.
no, but I believe in that. I believe, and with this is I been very fortunate to partner up with different people in coffee, and then my role is to enable an environment in which they can just do their thing and tell us how to do it, and then connect them so we can connect the entire thing. And that's I think that's very important for any business. If for those who are starting a business, really, it's get yourself with like great people who believe in your product, who have talent or a good service, and give them the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I want to say one statement. It's not a question; it's a statement. I really like the fact how you broke it down earlier, and I'm gonna make a conclusion. Like by us purchasing this product at $14.99 to $20, right? We're not only helping the farmers, but we're helping the chain of processes, like all the small businesses and company that takes to develop this product. So everybody's benefiting to a certain degree, which I really, really admire.
Absolutely, and that's to tell you more about the intention of Liberté Coffee. What I wanted to create is what I call is a platform for the people that have a good product or a good service or talent, but typically they don't have the opportunity because they are too small, too young, or
Mm.
too old. So that's also part of Liberté. That's only work with the small or medium producers, and everyone who is working, in where we do our processing of the coffee experts, they're independent professionals. And so yes, anybody who who buys Liberté coffee not only enjoys an amazing coffee, supporting the communities that grow in the coffee, but it's supporting other small businesses and other
Mm.
entrepreneurs.
Emma, I'm gonna say this about my business partner, Emma. She has one of the biggest hearts in the planet. Like I never met an
It goes
individual.
both
Yeah,
ways.
but I never met an individual that her her love and her passion to help others and help not even others, but just like our overall community is huge. I know her plans and our plans for the future is to really try to work with companies that make impacts in the community and not only work with them, but develop companies that make an impact. We're I think our 5 year goal, 3 to 5 year goal is to switch our company more into like a B corporation that we can have the ability to do a a segment like that. What is your goal? Like, what is your future looking for the next 5 years, Liberty Coffee?
So, well, for Liberty Coffee,
Mhm.
well, the goal is to stay in business, to grow, to be able to bring amazing coffee to everybody that it's on board with our mission.
Is that
The
just direct to consumer, or do you want to work with distributors?
Like B2B?
both. So good question. So I actually been very ambitious with the Liberty Coffee.
We like ambition. That's
Yeah.
good.
That's our
Otherwise,
middle
you're shooting
name.
yourself in the foot before you even get started.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bigger
I
the
found
vision.
great partners now. No, but with that, it's the ambitious two things. One is, as I said, vertical integrated. It means that we're working every part of the business of coffee. Typically, people work only on the production side, which farming or the processing, or the export import, and then the roasting and sales. We do everything. And then the other part of ambition is that we are focused on the two segments of coffee: green coffee and roasted coffee.
Oh, this is
So
awesome.
we are
Yeah.
actually not selling only roasted as a final brand for the consumer. We're also selling roasted coffee as a wholesale. And we've been able in the last few months to land a few accounts here in Houston. So there's a few coffee shops here in Houston that are now serving some of our coffee.
Mhm.
The idea is to really go into that and offer it to some restaurants and other coffee shops and even small businesses that offer coffee for people. And then on the green side, we're selling green coffee to roasteries, so they
Yeah.
take this coffee and craft it the way they want it and sell it on their own brand. But still, at the end of the day, the way I see it is, the more we can bring of this coffee from these people and sell it, either green or roasted, the more impact that we can create as well back with the communities.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you, Jose, but I am so glad that we were able to bring you on today and to learn more about your journey and where Liberté is going and also the impact that you've already made. Because yes, it's only been officially launched for a year, but you said you've spent 5 years of your life developing this and building this out. And I think that even if something were to happen and this would be as far as it's gotten, you've already made a tremendous impact in so many people's lives.
I agree 100%.
No,
I'm honestly, one, super happy that you came on board. For two, when we started this conversation, I didn't expect the levels that you are working to make a difference in the industry and in the communities, which I admire a lot.
no, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that as well. And
Absolutely.
I hope that I believe we're touching a lot of lives, and we have already touched lives through the coffee, and like to the people who's producing the coffee. And really, my goal is to continue doing that. To continue doing that, to continue touching lives through coffee, through the people that are growing the coffee, and expand our footprint. Work with more farmers, work with more areas in Guatemala that do
Awesome.
Well,
that.
Elmer, where can people find Liberté Coffee online? Tell us social media, website, give us all the details.
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. So, Liberté Coffee, libertecoffee.com is our website. So, www.libertecoffee.com.
We'll link it in
You
the
will
bio.
you'll go there and immediately into our online store. But as well, that website provides not only the shop, but it gives a lot about us, Liberté, and it's also where we're also providing a lot of visibility because yeah, you want to know who is these people that we're talking about and what is it that we're doing with them. So in the website with a lot of that content, then we are obviously on social media. Our Facebook is Liberté Coffee, and then our Instagram is at Liberté Coffee with an underscore at the end. And I say we are really keen and we have amazing plans for this year to for our social media. The theme for the year is origin. So we're going back to origin. And we're gonna be telling a lot of stories about the people that work in the farms, the farmers, the coffees, and also about Guatemala. I want to highlight Guatemala as a country. So yeah, you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook through Liberty Coffee, and also on Instagram there's a shop that people can buy coffee immediately. We don't have a front store yet. That's in my phase 3
Yet.
of the plan. I'm still working phase 1 of the plan, but yeah, I there's quite actually a good interest of some smaller business in Houston, like restaurants or shops that they're willing to put our coffee in their location, so people can also buy it from there.
Well, we can't wait to see what's in store for you this year. And I know that we both follow Liberté Coffee and we'll be checking in on you to make sure that you hit those goals because we like good coffee and we
We
like
love coffee.
businesses,
Super.
especially when it's coffee with purpose.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I would say we talk about challenges. I just wanted to make a comment as well. I think that sometimes we talk so much about the challenges on businesses, but we need to talk about like what has made it possible to do the business and what makes it
Mm.
possible. And in my case, and I'm very grateful for the people, is people who has made Liberté Coffee. Possible
Reality.
a reality.
Mhm.
It was a dream. It's been my dream for years, but I guess I come from a different industry. I didn't really like know much about coffee other than drinking it. Uh, but people that have knowledge and experience, whether it was farming, whether it was like processing the coffee, roasting, and through our mission and through values, connected with these people, and man, like they've been so open about teaching us anything and everything, and that's why one of my convictions, I founded my company on 5 convictions. One of convictions is like knowledge, shared knowledge changes the world. A lot of people said that knowledge is power, and that's true, but if you keep it, is the power with you. But the true power is whenever you share the knowledge, and that's what's going to change the world. And that's the way that I build my company, and that's the way when I keep it building it, by sharing knowledge, by sharing about us. And that's one thing that we're doing on social media. Share with the public, hey, how can you do your coffee? How can you improve making your coffee? And sharing anything that we can. So I think that's one of the greatest things for an entrepreneur, connecting with people, sharing knowledge, because people is what really grows any business.
Could
love
not
that.
have said it better myself.
Mhm.
And this is why you need to be subscribed to our channel. No, seriously, thank you so much. And for
Thank
anyone
you.
out there, if you like these kind of stories, you want to see more of this content, show us. Comment down below, like, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye.
Super. Ciao.